picked the wrong week to quit sniffing glue.
Welcome back. It is week 6 on the Galaxy Class Enterprise D, and I can tell you without fear of contradiction, this will be one of the shortest videos I will have done on the entire subject. Why? Why will I know? How do I know that? Because it's already Wednesday and I haven't recorded a bloody thing for it. Because I had a weekend. Went up to, well, this was the following of Thanksgiving weekend, so it was my 40th high school reunion weekend. So drove like a madman Friday morning, started right after way overfilling on the Thanksgiving turkey the night before, so got up early, drove up Pennsylvania, and went to my hometown of Franklin. Even took my Franklin model with me because I was hoping to get a picture of the Franklin in front of the Franklin sign. Wasn't to be. So so I packed up the truck and moved to Beverly and went up to the hometown for my high school reunion. I did make time to stop in here. Legalized Marinara. This is Leonardo's Restaurant and Pizzeria, the best place on planet Earth to get a sub. I will fight you. I will fight anybody that says anything different. But it was a weekend. Reconnected with some people from my high school. Caught up with my old high school sweetie on Friday. And then Saturday took a tour of the old high school, which had been, shut down, and they built a new high school. So it had fallen into disuse. It was very, that show on the Science Channel, The Mysteries of the Abandoned? It was very Chernobyl-like in that school. But I got to see my hometown with the Christmas lights on, and it was about as much nostalgia as one man could take. So I did that Friday, and Saturday was ugly, rainy, not quite snow. Didn't get out, do a lot. Walked around town, took some pictures. And then the event itself was Saturday night. That was big fun. I wish I could remember more of it, but, I'm getting old and the drinks are stronger these days. So Sunday got up, drove down to my one sister's house and stopped in for a couple hours, catch up, and then ended up going down south of Pittsburgh to my other sister's house, stayed the night, and then drove back Monday. And Monday it was raining and windy and ugly, and almost the whole way down I didn't turn the wipers off once. It was just a horror. And when you're driving in the rain and you're on interstates and you're concentrated it's very tiring because every minute you are concentrated on the rain and the lane and making sure somebody isn't coming up to pass you, and all of that stress. It just you're on guard every single second. And even after I got back down into North Carolina and the rains had stopped and the skies had parted and the sun came out, it was still bloody windy. And you could be driving all along, and all of a sudden your car goes, ooh, we're going to go over here for a while, and then we're going to come back. It was non-stop stress. So I get in Monday, unpack, everybody's good. I made it through alive, counted my fingers and my toes. Started answering some emails and things like that. And then yesterday I got up, got a shower, stepped out of the shower, and threw my back out. I don't know whether it was all the stress of the driving and all that, because I spent close to, 1,200 miles. 600 miles up, 600 miles back. 1,200 miles driving, and that was a good 18 hours total out of the whole weekend, because it's about 9 hours up, 9 hours back. All that driving caught up with me, and it didn't hurt me at all then, and then all of a sudden, bam, back went out. And if one side goes out or the other, I can hobble through. Both sides of my lower back just blew out. So yesterday I was on the couch, heavily medicated for the majority of the day. So no work got done on Galaxy Class yesterday. Today, back is feeling better, but I need to catch up with a vinyl order and some other things. So I'm going to do the most mindless and least tedious and least engaging thing that I need to do, and that is I'm going to be putting windows on the bottom of all of this today, because I need something that is small, does not take a lot of heavy lifting, and I can do at a desk in one pose. So it's got some riveting work ahead, but like I said, they can't all be fun weeks, and we'll just see how it goes. So come along for this short adventure, and I'm gonna pop in a picture or two here of my glorious hometown with the Christmas lights on.
Dreaming of a white Christmas, just like the ones I used to know. And a treetop glisten and children listen to hear sleigh bells in the snow.
Okay, so now that I'm down in the comfy chair, I can start putting on the saucer windows. Now, the important thing to do while I'm doing this is to start with a fresh set of saucer windows so that I can gauge how many of these I need per set and make sure that when I do the final sets I have enough windows included. A lot of these are going to be the scratch off type, and of course everything around the outer edge is going to be a scratch off type, but these long windows in these little dormer bays, those are going to be, and those are actually pretty easy to apply and pretty easy to go on, so that should hopefully go pretty quickly. But the goal is to do that and then get a coat of primer on so that I can start putting down the actual Aztecs. Okay, as you can see, I've got many tiny windows on the bottom of the saucer, all blocked off, and I'll repeat it again. Well, that's the definition of repeating, when you say something more than once. I don't know if people would choose to do every single window open, but I need to make sure that they have enough masks should they decide to do that. But I'm also doing these special little weird sized ones, like these ones, and these 4 up here, and these 6, which are not as long as this, but longer than, or not as long as these ones, but they're longer than those ones. So they're a middle size. So I've got all these blocked. I even started blocking some in the neck, even though I know those are all ones that should be done with scratching. And then you'll have all of the ones around the perimeter. I need to zoom out so you can see all the ones around the perimeter. Those will all be scratch offs, because they are so small and so bendy that I can't get the vinyl to stick over that. So those will be better off handled by painting them and then scratching them back off. So now I'd like to take this outside and put a quick coat of primer on it. It's not all that warm outside. It's very cold, so I don't know. It's usually warmer outside when I put this much primer on something, so I may have to bring it in here and use the paint booth and put it on inside in the paint booth. Good morning and welcome back to Saucer Days. It is not Saucer Day, it is actually Thursday. But I am desperately waiting on a delivery of some vinyl, which was supposed to be here at the beginning of the week, so that I can get an order out. But while I'm in a holding pattern for that, I'm back to working on the saucer. And what I've done this morning is just hollowed out this channel. I laid it on the light table so I could see where the phaser strip was going to be, and I'm planning where my LEDs are going to go. And so what I've done here is just cut out a channel here to put the tiny chip lights in. The thinner you make the vinyl, or the thinner you make the fiberglass or the resin here, obviously, the brighter the lights are going to end up being. I will still mask the top of this like this so that you don't put a lot of paint on it. And this is going to show basically the layout of where the bulbs are going to go. So now I'm just going to try that out and see how bright they are, see if that's enough. And then it's just going to be a question. I have black vinyl, so I can go ahead and finish cutting the rest of the windows and get these windows on. I've got the bottom of the saucer painted yesterday. I got it a couple of light blocking coats on it, so that's drying in the other room. These little guys here I'm going to leave to be scratched out, and the ones along the bridge I'm going to leave to be scratched out, and of course the ones on the perimeter. I have to cut a hole right here for a formation light that does not blink, and for the red and green navs over here which do not blink. But since this top is kind of delicate, it's a lot more delicate than the bottom, it's a lot more thinly cast, I don't want to do the holes here until the last minute because I don't want to take the chance of damaging that. Also, we'll need to channel out half of the thickness here for the impulse engine. Some of that will come off of the bottom, but some of it could come off of the top as well. Again, I'm going to be running magnet wire to all of those, so I want to be very careful not to damage them, and also not to do it until the last minute. So something I can do even before I put these bulbs in is I can get the windows in, get a couple of coats of sealer. Oh, there's also a blinking strobe that goes right here. Get a couple coats of sealer in on it, some of that rough housing done, and then go back in and drill those out. I could probably drill this one out safely now since it's not towards any of the outside edge. At least drill the hole for it. But let's cut some of these windows. I've got some of them in. Most of them are this one size, but there are some of the long ones that go right here. Everything else seems to be this standard size. So let's get back into another day of fun window placement. Work is continuing on the top of the saucer, and tedious does not begin to describe it. I've got the inside of the phaser strip all windowed out, and I am working my way slowly around the outside to get it all windowed out. But I had to take a break. Both my eyes and my back are just telling me it's time to stop for a second. So go out, walk around, see the sights, listen to the tweeting birds, stretch a little bit, and then come back and hit it again. Okay, I've got a little bit more than half of there's a little bit more than half of the outer ring done with windows, and at this point I'm willing to confess to kidnapping the Lindbergh baby. I mean, this is torture. This is tediousness at its core. Tediosity, I don't know if that's a new word, but it is. Wow. And I pray to anybody who's making this kit will never open up all of these windows. I've said it before, I'll say it again. I'm putting enough masks in the set so that you can, but you are crazy people if you actually do. Some of these might even be better off to be scratched out, but I gotta tell you, as daunting as it is to put all these down, I'm just sitting here thinking, when all this is said and done, I've got to peel all these guys back up. That's not going to be a bed of roses either. So, yeah, it's a long, to paraphrase the other Star Trek show, it's a long road getting from there to here. Wish me luck. I'm almost done. I would like to get a coat of primer over this today, but I've got this much more to go. Okay, it feels like I started this a year ago, but I'm done. All in one day. Ta-da. Now I want to put a coat of primer on this to lock these guys down before I do anything else. Good morning, it's Friday, and I know we're not getting a lot shot this week, but I wanted to take a minute while I had the saucer up on the stand. This is the first time you've seen it with any sort of paint on it. Now it has a gray light blocking coat on it, then it has this black coat on it, and you can really see now for the first time just how pretty a casting this is. It's kind of tough to tell when it's in the clear, you know, all the detail and just how good looking and how crisp a casting this is. I never saw that much detail in the bridge when it was clear, because it's clear and it's tough to judge, but you can really see like the ridges in the shuttle bay door and the detail in the phaser strip. If I can ever get it to focus, there you go. The detail on the phaser strip. Just what a lovely casting this thing is. But today's work, I think, is going to consist of doing some more sanding. Now, what I've got to sand is I've got to sand some of this down and some of this down on both sides so that I can pull the the back of the saucer down into shape. And then if we're really lucky, we will get the LED strips installed today. Modest goals. Also, while we're at it, if we can, I will mask off the clear bits of the nacelles again and maybe get a unifying black coat on the secondary hull. There's plenty of rough patches to sand, and particularly it's something I noticed when I put the full lights on this thing the other day, was just how much light comes out here. So I'm thinking I'm going to have to fill that in with probably the gray JB weld and as a light blocking, and then go back in and kind of sculpt that out, because it is just it's just a light, not a light leak, it is a light sieve. It's just pouring light out of that seam that shouldn't be, and whatever I do here is only going to be magnified when it comes to working on the seam of the two parts of the saucer. So I need to get the technique down on this before I have to worry about the huge seam there. So maybe what we can do is get, like I said, get these guys light blocked or taped over, and sand this very rough spots here, sand these down, maybe get a black unifying coat on this today. I just noticed it looks a bit like it did when it was crashed on Viridian 3. I'm not happy. Here's why I'm not happy. You know, like I said, when this was clear, it's kind of hard to see the contours of it and everything, and it really takes a coat of paint so you can tell where things actually are. That's way too fat. And I'm looking at it now. If I can get a deep close up on the edge here, and this top here is still way too thick. And as a matter of fact, I can see there is a line, if I can get it right there to where you can see it. See that line right about there? That's what it needs to be sanded down to. I've got about 1/16 of an inch all the way around to bring that down. I'm going to have to get out the riding belt sander again to sand that, because that is way too fat. And even if I could just take it down around the outmost edge, I can leave this top. If I could take it down from, here's the outer edge, if I could take it down from here and just bevel that thing down the whole way, it's gonna be a much happier deal. But that is, I mean, that's just simply too fat. Too fat. Again, you can, if I drew a pencil line on there, you could see where the line should be. But yeah, it's going to take a lot more belt sanding to get that thing knocked down. So that's going to put a big old kink in the plans, because I wanted to get the lights on it. So it's out to the store I go to get some heavy duty sandpaper. I might even have to take the grinder to this, who knows. Okay, this is a little bit better. I think I can make this work, but I don't even want to tell you the size of the grinder I had to get out to make this happen. It was the riding lawnmower of grinders, and I basically went out and just ground down. I mean, you can start to see where this is delaminating a little bit, but I had to grind down around the whole perimeter of this saucer to get it down to where the two sides would meet up and not look like a triple decker. Of course, the side benefit is that this seems to come together a lot nicer. That was part of the problem, but using that as an example, that's a much happier edge. So a lot of work to it, but you know, these garage kits are not they're not for the faint of heart. Okay, it's lame, but this is the best I can do for right now as far as putting something together that might be attractive for the week. Did not get what I wanted to get done, so we take what we get and we don't fuss a bit. Okay, well, this is where we're going to drag this week across the finish line. Rare moment of quiet. Take a good look at this vinyl cutter behind me. It may be the last time you see it. I've been fighting with it all day to try to get it to produce usable templates, and I'm to the point of taking it out to a quiet field and putting a sheet over its head. So, didn't get a lot done on the Galaxy class this week. Set back on having to re-sand or re-grind the bottom saucer more. That set me back more than I wanted to, but you just don't know until you put paint on it. The clear resin or the clear fiberglass is not a good barometer for exactly what it is you're looking at until you get some primer on it. So once I got those two pieces together, I could see that the tips or the circumference of the saucer was still way too fat. So that had to come down. Had to send it on Weight Watchers. Had to slim it down. So till next week, we're getting closer into December. Well, we are into December. Time starts to get a little bit more valuable, a little bit more scarce. Trying to get Christmas stuff done. So we'll see. I need to get the vinyl plotter working to get an order out. Plus, I've got to get the Katinga finished up, and that's causing me some angina on the old or angina or whatever you want to call it on the getting the Katinga under wraps. So until next week, when hopefully I'll have more energy, my back won't be killing me, and we'll get back working on the Enterprise D again. Be good to each other. Say hi to your family, and we'll see you here next time.